I walked out of Sychar that day at noon. It's the time of the day when every rock in the valley of Shechem blisters in the heat. It's the time of the day when everyone in Sychar just longs for the cool wind nights to come down from the brown sides of Mount Gerizim. It had been a hot, dry season. Even the vineyards, though watered faithfully by hand, even they just wither in the midday heat. The pitcher was heavy on my shoulders, and my feet burned like hot coals in my sandals. And what was I doing out there? Well, if you must know, no one goes to the village well at noon for water. It's much too hot. And I can be sure that I'd be alone. But just to be sure, I've walked out to Jacob's well. It is a much better water there. See, I used to go to the village well with the other women, but I just got so tired of their rejection of me. When I'd come close, they would just stop talking and turn up their noses and turn their backs to me. So I'd stick up my tongue at them and I go home and come back later. But don't worry, because I'm used to it. And as I walked out of Sychar, I passed by some strangers, some Jews. Well, they just turned their backs to me when they saw me. See, the Jews called the Samaritans half-breeds. That is, among other things, they call us half-breeds. But they don't mind passing through Samaria when they travel between Judea and Galilee. See, the north road forks right at Jacob's well. And when I got close to Jacob's well, I saw a stranger there, a man, a Jew. I knew he was a Jew from the fringe on his robe. And he looked at me and spoke to me. Now look, Jews do not speak to women. In fact, some of them, the Pharisees, well, they shut their eyes when they see a woman. We like to call them the bleeding and the bruised Pharisees because they're constantly walking around with their eyes shut, bumping into houses and walls. They deserve that, I say. But this Jew not only spoke to me, he asked me a favor. Me, a woman, and a Samaritan. Well, the Samaritans have been fighting with the Jews for 400 years. Ever since the exile, when the Jews rebuilt the Temple of Solomon on Mount Zion in Jerusalem. And we weren't good enough to come into their precious temple. So we built our own temple in Mount Gerizim. They've been threatening to tear that one down ever since. He asked me for a drink of water. And I shook my head no. I wasn't about to give a Jew water. And I would have run away, but I couldn't go back to my man without the water that I came for. And he just laughed a little when I shook my head no. He said that if I would have asked him for water, he would have given me living water. Now, everybody knows that running water is better than well water, but where was he going to get that? No man was going to get the better of me. I've known a lot of men, and so I sassed him right back, and I told him that he wasn't even carrying a bucket. The man didn't even have a cup. And that well was over 100 feet deep. Where was he going to get living water? But before he could even answer me, I told him, I asked him if he thought he was better than Jacob, who gave us this well. I knew that would get to him. See, the Jews do not believe that Jacob is the forefather to the Samaritans. Oh, no. Forefathers are all Jewish property. I told him. He didn't even get mad or angry or anything. He's just like one of those Jews that likes to talk in riddles. He said if I drank the water that he gave me, I would never be thirsty again. I was so hot that I said I would take that, even if he was joking. Because imagine if I never again had to come out here to Jacob's well for water. I never had to deal with those snobby women at the village well. And then do you know what he said? He said, "Go and get your husband and come back." His eyes seemed to look right through me. Just when I thought I was safe. Even a strange Jew knew about me. Our souls are never safe from such eyes. And as he looked on to me and he went on, and I could feel myself just stiffen right up. And the blood flow from my face as he went and he told me all about myself and all about the 5 men that I had been with. And about the one man that I'm with now. I don't know how this Jew knew all about me. But he was right. I have no husband. I tasted the ashes of my life in my mouth. And I felt so weak and faint that all I could do was to look over that well and let the coolness of the water in the deep just come up upon my face. And it was as if when I looked in that deepness, that darkness below, I saw myself. I saw myself for who I was. And I said to him, you are a prophet. Oh. Now I knew what he meant, because I have longed for that living water. I turned to him, and I asked him where it is that I must go, so I can make a sacrifice, so that I can be forgiven. Must I go to Mount Zion in Jerusalem, or must I go to Mount Gerizim in Samaria? And he looked at me with such sympathy. No one has ever looked at me like that. Certainly no man. And then he took the pitcher from my shoulder and he put it down. And he said, "It doesn't matter." He said, "God is spirit." And I said, "Yes. Yes, and when the Christ comes, he will tell us all about these things." And do you know that it was to me, a woman, a Samaritan, an adulteress, that he first said, "I to whom you are speaking am he." Oh, I gasped and I caught my breath and I just wondered if he knew what he was saying. And then I could see his friends coming back from town with food, and I didn't want this Jew to get into any trouble for talking with me. So I ran back to Sychar. And I knew I couldn't go to the women there. They would never listen to me. So I went to the men in the village square where they eat their noon meal, and I told them about everything this Jew told me about myself. And I must have told them right, because they all got up so quickly and they gathered their white robes and they tucked it between their legs and they ran out of Sychar. And you know what happens when one runs? Everyone ran out of Sychar towards Jacob's well. And I ran too. And I ran faster than all of them. And I got close to Jacob's well again. And I saw the man there, the Jew with his friends. And I stopped to catch my breath and wait for those behind me to catch up. And I heard the man say to his friends, "Do not say that it is 4 months until the harvest. Look up with your eyes and see that the fields are ripe, white, ready for the harvest." There was nothing in that brown, dry valley ready for harvest. Nothing white, except for all of those Samaritans in their white robes in the fields behind me, running with Sychar.